Hey everyone. So we're looking at our review today. I'm going to be going over a few of these, so stick with me and then try some on your own. Let me know if you have any questions. So this first section is just asking us to name each angle in four ways, and I give a little example here: angle BAC. Taking a look at number one here. All right, I'm going to start with kind of what I did in the notes, the least common way, and then to the most common way. If they ever just put a little number in the angle, like a 5, a 1, a 2, we can use that to name it. So we can call this thing angle 5. Okay, that doesn't happen very often. Okay, but the next most often way of naming an angle is just with its vertex. If it's the only angle that has that vertex, we can use it and we can call this thing angle J. Okay, but the most common way of naming an angle is with 3 points, starting on the angle side, going around its vertex to its other side. So calling this thing angle IJK. Okay, and as you can imagine, we can go also the other direction, starting on this side, going around the vertex to the other side, angle KJI. Okay, and there it is. I just want to point out we could not call this angle, for example, JKI. We can't start at the vertex, go to a side, and then jump over to the other side. That would be a completely different angle. Okay, so maybe pause the video real quick, try number two. Okay, so from here, it's asking us to name the angle pair relationship. Here's our three options: complementary, supplementary, or vertical. All right. I don't think it's a bad idea on your review just to kind of remind yourself. You guys remember complementary, they're two angles that add to 90 degrees. Okay. Supplementary are two angles that add to 180. And vertical angles are congruent. I can do better than that. Okay, so let's take a look at number three. All right, it's good to know that vertical angles are congruent, but that still doesn't necessarily mean you know how to identify them when you see them. If you guys remember, vertical angles are all about what happens when two straight lines cross one another, and we get these two angles that mirror. All right, so this angle and this angle. All right, and yeah, that's what vertical angles look like. So there's our answer on this one. Okay, jumping down to number five, I noticed that these two angles make a straight line. Okay, and that should be enough to make you realize, all right, that means they add to 180 degrees, and that means they're supplementary. Okay, so these problems I hope are pretty straightforward. If you know what these words mean and you know how to identify them, they're quick. Okay, so if you want to try out 4 and 5, go ahead and pause the video. All right, from here, it's kind of using those same angle pairs, but asking us to find the missing measure of angle, B. I want to take a look at number 8 here. All right, first thing I notice, these are two angles that make a right angle. Okay, a right angle is 90 degrees. So that means these are technically complementary angles. Okay, that's not the question, okay, but that is, the terminology. Okay, but we can make an equation out of this. We know that B plus 61 equals 90. Okay, and then from here, we can solve this thing and subtract 61 from 90, and it looks like B is going to equal 29. Okay. So yeah, I'll leave number 7 if you want to give it a try. If you know what you're looking at, you can get that problem immediately. Okay, so moving on from here, this is where the test gets a little bit more interesting. Still dealing with these angle pairs, but now we have more strange values. Let's take a look at number 10. Okay, number 10. First thing that we have to notice is these are two angles that are made when two straight lines cross and they mirror one another. Okay, just to kind of like make it completely obvious. Okay, these are vertical angles. That's the first thing to realize. Now that we know that, we can remember vertical angles are congruent. They're equal. Okay, that's the equation we can make. So 3x plus 1 equals 49. Okay, on the test and on the review, I need to see the work. I need to see the equation and you solving it. Okay, so subtracting 1, I got a 3x equals 48. And then dividing by 3, 48 divided by 3, looks like we're getting 16. Okay, by the way, on the test, you will get clean answers on all of these problems. If you end up with decimals, something's going wrong. So a pretty obvious way to check. Okay, by the way, my next thought was I put a little box around this and I thought, wait, is that actually what they asked for to find x? And on these, yeah, okay, always double check because some of these problems are going to want you to plug back in. Alrighty, so if you want to try out number 9, feel free, or actually maybe look at number 12 first, and then you can go back. Okay, so taking a look at number 12, here's the first thing we need to notice. These are two angles that make a straight line. Okay, so just to use our fancy words, that means they are supplementary. They add to 180 degrees. All right, and that's our equation. So we can say 6x plus 4 plus 32 equals 180. Okay, just be careful. On the last problem, we set them equal because they were vertical angles. If your first thought on this problem was that we were going to also set them equal, be careful. That's not the rule for angles that make a line. Okay, so yeah, it looks like we got some simplifying. We can combine the 4 and the 32. So we got a 6x and plus a 36 equals 180. And then we can show our subtraction here. 180 minus 36 gives me 144. So I got a 6x equals 144. Divide both sides by 6. X equals 24. Okay, and again, I'm double checking find x. That's still what we're asked for. There we go. Okay, so yeah, now would be a decent time. Pause the video, go back and try the ones that I didn't do, and see how you do. Okay, moving on from here, the last section of this test is dealing with problems that are giving us measures of angles and asking us to find missing measures. Okay, I'm going to leave 13 and 14 to you because I'm going to do a more difficult problem. But a big thing just to point out is putting these values onto your angles. Okay, don't just go straight to writing your equation. Put the information on the angles. It makes it so much easier. Okay, and I would say especially for these last two. I'm going to do number 15. Okay, so first things first. They're saying that FED, angle FED is 16x. So FED, that's the entire angle. Okay, so just to represent that, I'm going to put an arc over the whole thing and say, okay, that thing's 16x. Okay, from here, it's saying that angle FEL, 7x plus 13. So FEL is this little one right here. So 17x plus 13. Okay, and then last thing, angle LED starts at L, goes around E to D, is 50. Okay, now that I have these values on my angles, hopefully the equation that we're going to make is obvious, right? These problems are all about this small angle plus this small angle equals the entire angle. All right, so there we go. Let's set it up. So 7x plus 13 plus 50 equals 16x. Okay, if you don't put these values on the angles and you just try to make your equation by looking at the directions, it's very likely you're going to mess up. Be careful. Okay, so let's see what we got. We got some like terms on the left. The 7x, I'm just bringing down, but the 13 plus 50 gives me a 63. On the right, I have the 16x. Okay, next thing I notice, I have variables on both sides, so I want to get them to the same side. Okay, I'm going to choose to move the 7x over to the right. Okay, so I got a 63 equals 16 minus 7. I got a 9x on the right. Okay, and then just one step equation to solve right. Get rid of the 9 by dividing. 63 divided by 9 is 7. Again, I'm going to flip it around. Okay, here's what you might be tempted to do. Put a box around it and call it a day. Okay, these problems don't just want x. They want you to plug it back in and find the measure of an angle. Okay, so measure of angle FEL is what we're asked to find. So let's see which one that is. FEL. That is asking us to plug into this one right here. Okay, so off to the side, you don't have to necessarily draw a line, but I like to. Okay, let's go ahead and make a little equation. We know that angle FEL equals 7x plus 13. I'm going to leave a spot for x. Okay, and I know what x is. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in right there. Okay, so that's where this 7 is coming from. Okay, so angle FEL equals, and just be careful with your calculator. When you do 7 times 7, make sure to press enter and then add 13 if you're not using parentheses. And I'm getting 62 degrees. That is my answer. Okay. So, yeah, I think if you're feeling good with making equations and solving, this test is pretty straightforward. If that's something you still struggle with, talk to us. Let's get it figured out so we can make the rest of this year nice and easy. All right. I'll see you guys.